Oh, you guys, I woke up and it was 60 degrees this morning, so of course we had to put on the yellow mustard hoodie. Did you miss it? I did. It's signaling that it's closer and closer to fall. Okay, so I have tried to film this video twice now, and each time I go back to edit it, I'm just super rambly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apologize now for the rambliness. But y'all know we ramble a lot here on this channel. So I don't want to have to film this again because I'm getting tired of hearing myself talk, you know? So first, I just want to say thank you because on my last Pan That Palette update where we talked about like, panning a palette for a whole year just isn't for me. Like, what do I do? Do I do 6 months? Do I do this? Do I do that? Blah, blah, blah. You guys were so helpful. I loved reading your comments. I greatly appreciate them. I am very confident going forward with the decision to do a seasonal Pan That Palette. So I think that'll be great. That means 3 to 4 palettes that I will be touching within the year. And I say 3 to 4 because I haven't yet decided, do I want to do seasonal Pan That Palette for 3 months or 4 months? But I do know that with seasonal Pan That Palette, I'm actually going to start it in December of 2020. So the first season, if you will, would be December, January, February, or December, January, February, March. I just feel like, to me, like in November, for instance, I am more into those like icy silvery kind of shades like that, whereas in like December, January, and February, I'm more into like cool tones, pinks, purples, you know, maybe some like different interesting like lighter shades, things like that. So I just think December meshes better with like January and February. So that's why I want to do it that way. So again, it is like the middle of August when I'm filming this. I'm not quite sure when this will go up, but I wanted to go ahead and start the conversation of what is that palette going to be. That way, like off camera, I have time to really sit down, and I have 5 palettes in front of me that I'm considering. So I have a lot of time to like play with these on the weekends, things like that, and really figure out, does one pull at my heartstrings more than the other? I'm coming to you with all of this too because you guys have such like interesting ways of thinking of things. Like I will think of something one way and you guys think of it in a completely different way, and it's really eye-opening, and it's helped steered me in the right direction in the past. So I really just like having these conversations with you is what I'm getting at. I lost my train of thought. Hold on. Okay, I found it. So I enjoy having these like panning conversations with you. I think they're super helpful. The 5 palettes here too, it's really hard for me to make a decision on these because I love them all. I really have, these are all palettes that I have used, you know, more than 5 times in my collection, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have as many palettes as I do, having used one for more than 5 times and it not being a project pan is amazing. So I just really need help because right now, as I sit here, there's not one that really pulls at me more than the others, and maybe that'll change as I do dive deeper into these and play around with these more. So it'll be interesting to see like which one are you guys like really interested in seeing, you know, being panned. So okay, without any further rambling, let's just get into these palettes. And yeah, so the first one I'm going to show you is the Persona Identity palette, and this is what it looks like on the inside. This is just like the cool tone palette of my dreams. Like I absolutely love how thoughtful and well put together this is. I think you can get a variety of looks with this. I think too that I don't have a lot of cool tone palettes in my collection. So I do think that this will kind of pull me out of my comfort zone. And while so I classify like what I'm panning currently subculture. I classify it as grungy, but it is, those grungy shades tend to lean towards the more warm side. So I think the benefit of switching to a cool tone palette after doing subculture is that it'll be like refreshing and kind of like give me back life into like getting ready. You know what I mean? So I do think though, a con of this is that since it is cool tone, I am going to continue on with Pan Those Eyeshadows. How well is this going to play around with a lot of the Pan Those Eyeshadows since I do have more warm tones than cool tones? I'm not sure. But still, I don't want that to be like the biggest deterrent to not panning this. Or, you know, not at least trying to pan it. The other thing that I forgot to say is none of these palettes are super old. I think the oldest one is maybe, well, I don't know how old the oldest one is, and we'll get into that in just a second. But the oldest one that I do know how old it is about a year old. Will be a year old in December. And I know I see the merit in panning like your oldest things, but for me, like where I'm at in my panning journey is I just want to pan the things that I want to. And I'm okay with that. I realize that not everything is going to be finished up in its entirety. Not everything is going to have pan on it. And there are just, you know, my preferences for certain products change much like the seasons. So I just picked things that I just would really be into panning and not necessarily based on like their age or their price. So, okay, next palette is the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. I love this. I think, obviously, look how well it goes with my shirt. I just love mustard yellows and things like that. I think this goes so nicely with like my complexion and my eye color, things like that. The only con to this is that it is a naked palette. So it is like I call it a neutral mustard palette, which I think that's a pretty good description. Would I get bored with this? That's my only, issue. Are the looks going to be same? Like, you're using different shades, but you still get like a similar look. Like there's not that much difference or variety. I don't know. That's my biggest fear. That puts this, I think this is the only palette that I feel that way about, where it would be like similar looks. And so that would kind of, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, make this one the lowest ranking out of the ones I want to pan, but Urban Decay Naked Honey. Okay, then I have the Jackie Aina palette here. And so I honestly, every time I pull this out and use it, I just love it. This palette takes me out of my comfort zone. It makes me do things that I would have never thought, make color combinations that I would have never thought to put together. And I just really love it. I really want to, like these pinks and purples right up here, I just think those would be so fun in the winter time. Also just the shimmers in here. I think this is a better quality ABH palette than like Soft Glam. Like with Soft Glam, I feel like the mattes are super scratchy, like almost to the point where you put your brush into the pan and you can hear the scratchiness. Like, don't tell me I'm wrong, because I know I'm right. My only hesitation with this palette though is that it is so like, the colors are so saturated and so rich that I barely have to dip my brush into there to get good payoff. So even spending like a 3 to 4 month period on this palette, would there be that visual progress, or would it get discouraging because I'm not like seeing those dips and things forming because I'm not having to use as much product? I don't know, kind of my hesitation there. Okay. The next one, this is a palette, this is in a Z palette, but these are my Dandelion singles. Now, some of these I was sent by the lovely Laura for my birthday, and then the rest of them I purchased, but this is probably my most expensive palette, if you do want to know that, because you're buying singles at like $4 to $5 pop. So I absolutely love this formula though. I love this little brand. It's an Etsy brand. I've raved about them time and time again on my channel, but I think too, this would probably keep my attention the most because it is a build your own palette. Like I picked most of these shades, the ones that Laura sent me were perfect. She spot on. But, I think that makes a difference. I am hesitant though, because you'll see here a lot of grunge, and we've been panning a lot of grunge. So when am I going to get sick of the grunge? I don't know, but I don't want it to be in the midst of panning something grungy. So that's really my only hesitation. The other benefit though to this is that I could condense this down from this large palette into a build your own 12 pan palette and make it something appropriate for like the winter season. So, and I really think even though those purples in there are on the lighter side, I think those would be fun for the winter time. So it's kind of where I'm at with this one. So, okay, the last one is a palette that you don't know exists. I have a problem. We all know that. So I was late to the eyeshadow world, and I was late to figuring out that I like Lorac. So one palette that I have always regretted that I never got was the Mega Pro 2. And I just didn't think that was possible. And then I found Poshmark. So I found someone on there selling the Lorac Mega Pro 2 brand new for like 20 something dollars, and I was like, yes, it's mine. I like, just no hesitations. It was a total impulse purchase, but I'm not even that mad at it. So one thing I have with those Mega Pros is that with the 4 and the 1, I did remove a ton of shades from those, like 10, I think, from each of those. That's a lot. Out of a 32 pan palette, it's a lot. The 2, though, every time I have seen someone pull it out or play with it or swatch it or whatever, I'm just like, ooh, the only shades from there that I would remove are the black ones. So I'm not even mad at this impulse purchase. And I love Lorac. I think they're probably one of my favorite, if not the top favorite eyeshadow formula. I know they're not for everyone. I know a lot of people complain that their shimmers are lackluster, but I think that if you apply like a sticky base or like a cream base and then do your shimmers from Lorac, they really pack a punch. So this palette has all the same pros as the Dandelion, in that there's like this darker kind of grungy wintry corner, and then there's like this lighter corner for when like the spring fever bug starts hitting. So I just really think this would be a fun one to pan. My only con is that, are you guys tired of seeing me pan Lorac shadows yet? So yeah, that's it. I know this probably seemed a little bit rambly. I tried to like make a pros and cons list, but then it didn't feel as natural as just like getting on here and like going off script and talking to you guys. So I cannot wait to hear your thoughts and your opinions, and just can't wait to chat with you guys. Again, I just appreciate everything. I appreciate you watching, you commenting, and all of that. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.